Oh hi. Brasilia, the capital of the Federal Republic of Brazil and the residence of the government of the Federal District. According to data of the population census conducted by the Brazilian Institute of Geography and Statistics in 2010, the population of the city makes 2,562,963 persons. On this indicator is the third largest city of the country. By quantity of DDD per capita, Brasilia is in the second place, 40696 reals, conceding only to Vitória, 60592 reals. Together with Anápolis, 139 km, and Goiânia, 209 km, makes an axis of Brazil-Anápolis-Goiânia, which is the most developed area of the central western region. On April 21, 1962, Juscelino Kubitschek de Oliveira, the capital of Brazil, was transferred by the president to the city of Brasilia, which became the third capital of the country after Salvador and Rio de Janeiro. Moving of bodies of federal administration to the new capital led to the fact that became Brasilia the center of concentration of executive, legislative and judicial authority. The project of construction of the new capital, which received the name Pilot Plan, was developed by the architect Lucio Costa. Taking into account a land relief and a zone of flooding of a reservoir of Paranoa, the Pilot Plan actually is adaptation of the similar project offered by Luis Cruz in 1893. The majority of office and public buildings in the city is built on the project of the famous Brazilian architect Oscar Niemeyer. In 1987, the city is included in the UNESCO World Cultural Heritage List. The city received the name in 1960 by the name of the country known since the 16th century. In Portuguese, the name of the city is written in the original to Brasilia and differs from writing of the country, Brasilia. In the Russian, writing of the name of the country and capital coincide and are transferred with the termination, Brazil. To distinguish the name of the country and city in Russian, the last is often written in the form of transfer of the name taken at one time, Brasilia, which is recognized as wrong now. Brasilia is located in the central part of the country on the plateau of Brazil, at the height of 1,200 m above sea level on the bank of a reservoir Paranoa near the Preto and Escoberto rivers. Occupies the space of 5,801.937 square km. Geographical coordinates 15E to 47E Albal. The location was chosen specially far from the main political centers of the country of Rio de Janeiro and São Paulo, in the central part of Brazil, which was almost empty in those days. Such situation was recognized as more favorable from the strategic and military point of view. Climate of the city subequatorial, average temperature on months varies only within 3.6 degrees. Summer damp and rainy, winter drier. Average annual temperature is 21 C. The warmest month, October. Average temperature of month is 22.7 C. The coldest month, July. Average temperature of month is 19.1 C. At the same time, the maximum temperature registered in Brasilia was 35.8 C. On October 28, 2008. And minimum minus 1.6 C, according to other data minus 0 C. On July 18, 1975. Average annual relative air humidity -70%, goes down to 20% and below in the winter. A variety of flora is presented by more than 150 species of wood and shrubby plants. Most of them that is characteristic for, reach in height of 15-25 m for example. A cebe. Cebe spacciosa. Yellow. Tabebuia ceratifolia. Caesalpinia echinoid. Caesalpinia echinata. A palm tree you drill. Mauritia flexuosa. In the Federal District, the question of preservation of unique flora is particularly acute. The deforestation caused by expansion of agricultural grounds, one of problems of Brasilia. According to UNESCO, since 1950 the area of the woods was reduced for 57%. For preservation, the educational programs and structural reforms directed to reduction of degradation of a plant and animal life and also the rivers of the region are carried out. Freshwater in reservoirs of the Federal District is resupplied at the expense of groundwaters, therefore don't dry up during the droughty period. For increase in an amount of water, the decision on construction of a dam on the river Paranoa, therefore the reservoir was formed, was made. The area of a surface of the water of a reservoir is 40 square km. The maximum depth reaches 48 m, and his perimeter -80 km. The population of the city during 1960 grew by 14.4%, and following the results of a decade the general gain was 285%. In the 1978 years the population of the city increased by 115.52%. According to the plan, the population of Brasilia had to be 500,000 people by 2000. However, the settlement number of inhabitants was exceeded already by the beginning of the 1978 years. During the period between 1980 and 1991, the number of citizens increased by 36.06%. By the beginning of the 1998 years, the pilot plan lost any meaning, actively developed constructions of a set of satellite towns. According to a population census of 2000 in Brasilia lived 2,051,146 people. The index of human development makes 0.874, illiterate are 4.35% of residents. According to data of the Union, Brasilia on population takes the 16th place in the world and the 4th in country. The local population mostly is presented by immigrants from southeast and northeast parts of the country and the staff of 123 foreign embassies. As of 2003, there are more than a half of residents foreigners. The capital region besides the capital includes a number of municipalities of the state of Goiás. Nova Gama, Valparaíso de Goiás, Cidade Ocidental, Lusiania, Cristalina, Santo Antônio do Descoberto, Águas Lindas de Goiás, Alexandria, Abadiania, Hieranápolis, Carumba, Cocozinho de Goiás, Padre Bernard, Água Fria de Goiás, Planaltin, Vila Boa, Formosa and Cabeceiras, and also municipalities of the state of Minas Gerais. Una and Barretas. As of 2007, 3,506,967 people live in the capital region. Though Brasilia very much is proud of the fact that it is constructed strictly according to the plan, the project didn't consider builders of the capital. It was supposed that after the ceremonial opening of the capital, builders will part on houses. However, they preferred to remain in Brasilia, but weren't able to afford to live in expensive apartments which constructed. Therefore, it was necessary to locate around the green zone Brasilia. Soon several cities grew, by the size than Brasilia. Today only 400,000 people live in the city which was planned, many apartments are empty, and nearly 2 million inhabitants were proved in the satellite towns which weren't in the initial plan. In spite of the fact that in the city it was planned to create equal conditions for all, because of a difference in income the population was divided and lodged in the different cities. The rapid growth of the population which isn't giving in to control and class barriers cause crime. According to some information, in Brasilia about 2 murders in a day are committed. And other social and economic problems inherent in any city. The young capital of Brazil endures growth disease. Main articles. Transfer of the capital of Brazil from Rio de Janeiro to Brasilia and the pilot plan of Brazil. In 1955 the candidate for the presidency Juscelino Kubitschek swore that if to elect him in presidents, the new capital will become a reality still before his 5-year presidential term expires. In April 1956 Kubitschek was elected the president. In 3 years the 60,000 army of builders built well-equipped city. Public transport is presented by 2 lines of the subway. A photo gallery. The inaccessible link history. Passing from the center through the southern wing to satellite towns and also the numerous bus routes which are generally agreeing on the central station Rodoviária. In the city there is an international airport of Brasilia of Juscelino Kubitschek. Distances to the large cities of the country. Goiânia 209 km. Belo Horizonte 740 km. Sao Paulo 1020 km. Rio de Janeiro 1160 km. Salvador 1540 km. Porto Alegre 2027 km. Manaus 3490 km. Healthcare. In the administrative region of Brasilia there are several public medical institutions. Main hospital of the Federal District. Regional Oceanort Hospital. An expert Sula. Tilde Free and also Hospital of the University of Brasilia. In a number of administrative regions there are own hospitals which are under supervision of Department of Healthcare of the Federal District. In total such hospitals 12. To a healthcare system of Brasilia many complaints, critics arrive. The low level of service, charges of racism and low efficiency becomes a criticism subject most often. During the period from January to August 2008 in Brasilia 3147 cases of dengue fever were recorded, that is almost twice more than for the same period of 2007. In Brasilia one of the highest rates of cancer patients over the country. In 2005 the record breast cancer mortality of women, and this indicator is recorded doesn't decrease. Also, the number of patients with cancer of lungs is quite high, that is connected with universal tobacco addiction. At At a stage of development of the project of construction of the city, it was claimed that education in the capital will differ radically from formation of the country. On a wave of popularity of progressive education under the leadership of the teacher Inicio Teixeira. Port. Inicio Teixeira. And partially, anthropologist Archie Ribeiro. Training at elementary school was accented on development of intelligence of the child, but not on mechanical storing of maintenance of subjects. High schools are located in L, W and W. In the capital, two highest state educational institutions are located. The University of Brasilia. He is educated in 1962. And the Higher School of Sciences about Health. In the sphere of private education, the largest educational institutions are the Catholic University of Brasilia. 1974. University Center of Brasilia. 1968. And University Center of the Federal District. Academic buildings of the University of Brasilia are located in a number of administrative districts of the capital. The number of libraries is disproportionate to number of residents of the capital. The basis of book fund is made by books of libraries of the Capital University, the Congress and the Senate and City Library. In 2006, the National Library of Leonel de Moura Brizola was open. By Brasilia, it is constructed in 1957-1970 according to the order the President of Brazil Juscelino Kubitschek, especially as the capital in the central part of Brazil. The master plan was made by the architect 50. Costa with use of the ideas of Le Corbusier. Niemeyer became the chief architect of office and public buildings. Among outstanding creations of Niemeyer, there is a Cathedral of Brazil, which main premises are located underground where eyes from the street only his dome from concrete and stained glass is visible. Planning of the city is very unusual. From height of bird's flight it is visible the trunk mains of the city with adjacent quarters form similarity of the jet passenger plane flying on the southeast. Lucia Costa, however, claimed that he designed the city as a huge butterfly. At the same time, in the fuselage of this airplane, there is most institutions of city and federal importance. The central part is taken away under sectors of hotels, shops, banks, etc. In a plain tail, there are city municipal authorities, and around the pilot's cabin, federal prosecutor's office, parliament, national congress, and other institutions. In wings, residential quarters are located. Axial main highways. Port. Ixos. Are surrounded with 2 row small streets, and at every one, as a rule, specialization. Street of banks, street of drugstores, etc. Addressing of residential buildings in the city alphanumeric. The southern or northern wing, number of the superblock. Quarter is optionally specified, and even hundreds are located in the southern wing, and odd in northern. Smaller is closer to the axial highway, big further. And also the letter designating the concrete building in the block, them always no more than 11. Quarters are grouped on 4, and the school, church and some other social institutions fall on such group. It is easy to find the necessary address. N-102L, for example, is in northern wing of the city, the quarter 102, house 50. And if to remember that numbers of quarters increase, 102, 116. When you go by the ends of wings, then you will hardly be mistaken. In quarters, as a rule, there are a lot of greens. The richest quarters employ regular gardeners. In each residential building, the security guard controlling a flow of visitors without fail works. For form's sake and convenience's houses don't build higher than 6 floors. It is interesting also that under each building of the city the master plan allotted a certain volume of space above the ground. In this regard, the most interesting buildings of the commercial sector from an architectural point, banks, shops, hotels, etc., are, as a rule, more compact than the standard fellows. Much more freedom it is provided to builders in suburbs of Brasilia, where there live, mostly, rather poor citizens. At the same time, the wealthiest citizens most often buy country houses on opposite to the central part of the city, east coast of a reservoir. Also far. Write comments. Read comments. Interesting people will tell interesting stories. All of good mood and good luck.